Hey guys, this is your girl Candy K. Lynn,
And your boy Shout Town Shout.
and it's time to
Pull up.
guys here on Pull Up the Podcast. We talk.
Sports, news, hip hop.
We don't talk about people.
We just give you the facts.
There we go, Mrs. Shaw. We're a little out of order. We still getting it back together. It is still so hard for me not to say Monday. I am
Cause
stuck.
yeah, I thought about it too.
I need a script
I thought
to
about it too.
remember it is not Monday. Um, but hey, we are live and we are back talking sports. Whew, the NFL. The NFL. It keeps the landscape of football will be different this year with people's favorite quarterbacks being in new places. I don't know if it's good or it's bad. What do you think, Mr. Shaw?
Depending on the team. Um, it's all depending on the team and how they feel about what they got or what they gave them for what they got. I feel like the Broncos are happy. The Colts are happy. I don't know why, but they're happy. I understand why the Broncos happy. The Seahawks, they were just trying to get something back for Russell. Who else was traded? The Steelers not happy. They're gonna have to draft the quarterback because Mitchell Trubisky ain't it. Nah, he ain't
But
it.
they're saying, and,
Um,
and and that's the thing. They're now saying that there is potential that if the Browns go ahead and cut Baker Mayfield because
they happy.
Deshaun Watson is now in Cleveland, then
hmm
Pittsburgh would be happy to go ahead and pick up Baker Mayfield.
They're not gonna be happy. They're not gonna be happy because they're not gonna win. He's not gonna do nothing for them. But that's not the topic nor was that what we were talking about. You were talking about moves. The Raiders are happy, right? The Raiders are happy. They got a bona fide deep threat. Uh, the Buccaneers, they got Leonard Fournette back. They are trying to make a play again. Matthew Stafford got his contract. The NFL is looking, like you said, it's looking real nice right now. So what would the Falcons do, right? You got Marcus Mariota, but I know that's not what you think is going to be the quarterback of your future. So we're going to see what teams are going to do. We're going to see how teams like the Broncos, we talked about Vaughn got paid last week, but teams like the Broncos, you already got Jared Judy. Do you add anything around Russell Wilson? What do you do to make your team better? What do you
Well,
do to
Vaughn
make
is
your
gone to
team?
Buffalo too.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
Vaughn is gone.
yeah.
We didn't talk about that last week. Von Miller is gone to Buffalo. I guess Denver thought that multiple sources thought Denver was going to have a play at Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo's cold.
He came from Denver though.
I mean, but Buffalo is a different type of cold.
Oh well, I ain't gonna argue. I ain't gonna argue. He went from sunny beaches. He was just, but hey, maybe he a Texas kid. He down the street from us. So, but wherever he's going to be a Hall of Famer wherever he's at. That's all we know. All right, he gonna do Hall of Fame things. Uh, with the NFL, the NFL is always good around this time. Once the draft comes, it'll get a little bit better. But I was watching a little ESPN this morning, and Baker Mayfield was the topic. It's $19 million on his head. Who really trying to pay 19 million? And
For
for the
Baker
Browns, if you
Mayfield.
cut them, you still got to pay 19.
Right, but you hope somebody takes I don't I it's it's sometimes really really hard for me to understand the mindset of how we work these plays.
hmm
For swatch, for trades, for cuts because as you said first of all, Baker May let's talk Baker. You said we weren't talking about that, but we really are. We're talking the landscape of the NFL right now as things are
I
beginning
just
to
want to be
change.
off topic.
Oh, somebody been telling you been off topic.
I try to get better every day.
There we go. But no, anytime we talk about football, it's not really being off topic. We're kind of merging in points and facts together. For me, with
hmm
Baker Mayfield, Baker has done things for Cleveland, right? When you look at that, let's not dim the light on Baker did get you to the playoffs. I think you and I are in total agreement. We're not out here posting Skip Bayless type posts on Twitter that Baker will be okay. Baker is going to be their guy. Baker's going to be the guy somewhere. He's going to show us. There are some things that Baker needs to work on, but I wasn't convinced about Baker when they drafted him.
Son, I gave him the pass after the season before last, but bro, you had Odell and Jarvis Landry, and you had two running backs. You had decent tight end, like, and you were horrible. Like both of your receivers are gone. Like at the end of the season, one was traded mid-season, the other one just got cut at the end of the season because he didn't want to be there with you no more. Like
Right.
you have top tier talent around. When you're a quarterback and top tier talent doesn't want to play with you, you're not that good.
Wow. Mr. Shaw said top tier talent doesn't want to play with you. You're not that good. Obviously, he faded to black. There you go. He's back. He just like faded to black. That was a perfect drop the mic moment. And now he's gone. So it's just me along. If you were just now tuning in and joining us on the show, we are talking NFL free agency trades and moves. So the latest significant moves that have occurred in the NFL around the league is Matt Ryan is now in Indianapolis after Carson Wentz was there last year. So inconsistency there at the quarterback position. We're talking Baker Mayfield. Deshaun Watson is now out of that Houston ordeal with the Texans, and he is now in Cleveland. So Baker Mayfield is there, and I definitely can understand how a player would be. I definitely can understand how a player would be frustrated, and confidence could kind of be shaken, being that you've been the guy, you get your team to the playoffs, and now they replace you. They replace you. And Baker had sent a thank you Cleveland letter before the trade was fully announced and completed. So he knew that he was on the hot seat. So, Mr. Shaw, with that, how much does that shake a player's confidence? And I'm looking at Deshaun Watson. 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when we were having the conversation, Deshaun Watson was in our top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun Watson hasn't played for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I understand he's working out. He looks great in workouts. So does Kaepernick, they say. I mean, but what am I getting in game mode from a Deshaun Watson? And that's not to say that I'm a Baker Mayfield, but I do have questions. And if you keep Baker there as a starter, because he's asked to be, you keep the Baker there as a backup quarterback, he's asked to be released. You said you're not going to give him that. What type of turbulence do you have within your organization at this point?
I mean, you only got Deshaun Watson for a year. He's not signing there. That's not his destination. That's not where he want to be. So he's not staying there. Right? You're renting him out for a year. Plain and simple.
You're renting him out for a year.
Do you see, even with Amari Cooper there, do you seriously think Deshaun Watson is going to stay in Cleveland? I can't name I can't name a superstar that's ever went to Cleveland for any sport. Any sport. I have never heard of an athlete hitting the free agent marks and say we're going to Cleveland. Maybe the Indians. Maybe the Indians. But other than that, athletes don't say we're going to Cleveland. So I'm not. Baker not gonna stay. When Amari Cooper contract up, he gone. Like nobody wants to be there. And then, I don't feel like it's a controversy because everybody in the locker room know Baker can't get it done. Right? Like you might have had a decent year the year before. And again, you had a decent year the year before. But the next year, what you look like? You were back to normal throwing picks, under throwing targets. Like again, it went as far as to where Odell was cut, or was he traded?
He was cut because he had to get picked up.
He was cut. So Odell was cut because you made it seem as though he couldn't play football no more because you couldn't give him the ball. And anybody can say whatever you want. He goes to the Rams. He's healthy. He's getting the ball. It's not Odell, right? In that scenario. It was not Odell. It's you. So I don't feel like there's value for Baker Mayfield because again, if there was value, the Texans were horrible this year. They didn't trade player for player. I know the Browns asked. I know they said no.
I
Because I
agree.
think I think they got a 4th round pick for Deshaun Watson. So you weren't even the Texans didn't even want you. So again,
And
I
I'm
just
sure
don't.
he didn't want the Texans either. I mean, listen, but and again, every conversation, if you listen to Pull Up the Podcast, I say the same thing. We go back to ownership, right? These organizations are not the best. Like,
Nah, for
there's no
real.
other way to explain, as you say, that you're written Deshaun Watson out for a year. You have the Amari Cooper deal. Dallas moved him to get the money off the books. Cleveland has money because Baker Mayfield is the biggest contract in Myles Garrett, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the biggest
That
contracts that you have on your book. And who else?
uh maybe Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Well, not Kareem Hunt kicked the girl. So his contract probably not that big, but Nick Chubb, the running back.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's 4 contracts that we're talking about. So you got money. Because it's not like you're paying a massive amount for the talent in which you have. So
facts.
for me, I think it will be interesting. Cleveland will get a lot of TV time because they have Deshaun Watson. There will be a lot of controversy, good and bad. There's
Mm-hmm.
already the people talking about boycotting in Cleveland and Deshaun Watson in the open cases. So that's a whole nother controversy, right? Let's talk about that really quickly. And again, here at Pull Up the Podcast, we don't talk about people. We just simply talk about the headlines. Our last show that I uploaded to all major podcast platforms, you can get that episode from last year. We talked about Deshaun Watson. And he was out on the jet skis with his girlfriend, and he was trying to enjoy his life to the best that he can at this point. When I'm reading online, don't tell me about Deshaun Watson, the 22 sexual assault cases that are open. The thing that we must realize as people is Deshaun Watson was not charged criminally for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And those charges did go up in front of the grand jury to see if he should be charged criminally because there was DNA or there was, a large burden of proof that he possibly had sexually been inappropriate sexually with these women.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That doesn't seem to be the case. So we've got to get off of guilty until proven innocent, except for when we think you're just guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to stay politically correct. I try to stay politically correct. But it's always interesting when I read the messages. It's always interesting to just see who's leaving them, who's
Mm-hmm.
pulling, who's ending business deals with the Cleveland Browns because of this. And I understand protecting women. I understand the importance of believing women, but let the justice system do its job. And I don't remember this kind of outrage when Ben Roethlisberger was accused of raping women. Um,
Talk about it, because they don't want to talk about it.
I
And
just don't remember seeing this level of outrage. I don't think, we've had executives in baseball have altercations with their wives outside. We've had kickers have altercations with their wives. That there
but
was evidence.
make it make sense to me. What's the point of you pulling your sponsorship because they got a quarterback that is going to make them better on the field, right? And you guys are how can you attack someone's character without evidence? There's no
And
evidence that.
but would you want your character attacked becomes the thing, right? When we're having these conversations, even I have to adjust my opinion and views on certain things with understanding. If
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been charged criminally,
Mm-hmm.
should I not be able to get a job
Facts.
because someone's suing me in civil court?
You definitely should be able to get a job,
And
even though
so,
you've been.
right. So you may have made some bad choices or whatever the case may be. So I want people to look at that from a different perspective when you're talking about allegations, because they are simply allegations.
Allegations,
Does it
yeah.
lead us to believe that until he's proven innocent, he's not going to be proven guilty because it's not a criminal case.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a criminal case. So now it's about financially, how much is he going to have to pay out of his pocket because these women said he was inappropriate with them?
Mm-hmm.
Also, we never heard about this until we wanted a trade. We knew nothing of these sexual allegation charges.
And less than
So,
a week later, the trade made. It didn't take a full week for him to get cleared of the charges and been traded to Cleveland. It didn't take that long.
so
So y'all try to tarnish, and again, you know, people can feel however they want. I feel like you tried to tarnish that man's name, hoping you knew there was nothing, right? You knew there was nothing. This is how I feel.
but you
Cleveland,
can
you
just
knew there was
hold up the
nothing.
process. Houston was able to hold up the process. And Houston fans hate
Also, you
Houston.
don't want to play with us no more. So we'll get you. We'll try to get you for this, because we might have heard the girls might have said something. And again, we don't know if you did it. We don't know if you didn't do it. Right? We don't know what they know. Right? Because we're on the outside looking in and we don't speculate.
Right. And they don't know what they know because they weren't there either. And that becomes the reality of these situations. Like with sexual misconduct allegations, it's he say, she say. If you
Mm-hmm.
and this is a, sometimes I have to do this. It's the teacher mom in me, right? Ladies, if you are sexually assaulted, you should always go to the hospital. Then you don't have to prove. And it's hard. You don't have to prove, like, you have the evidence if you were sexually assaulted. If it
Mm-hmm.
occurred and you didn't want to be touched, always remember, no matter what setting you're in, it's going to always be your word versus his word. So you'd
Mm-hmm.
better be credible. You better
Mm-hmm.
be credible. You better not have anything that anybody can say or saw against you. So those are just some gems for women to remember, because now we're in a back and forth tug of war of he said, she said.
Mm-hmm. And I'm one
And
of those men that like for the facts to come out before I have an opinion, because I'm not going to say, oh, well, women be lying. No, I want to see the facts. Because I don't want to give an opinion on something I don't know nothing about. So, because again, there might be some women that out there lying about being molested or touched inappropriate. Because again, this was a sexual. It didn't say sexual assault. It was sexual. It was being inappropriate.
yes,
Right.
like asking for oral sex after a massage.
Yeah. Right.
Those those
So
those type of things. So inappropriate behavior, possibly. We don't know. So stay tuned with the NFL. We're gonna go ahead and move right on over to college football, Mr. Shaw. And college basketball. Ooh, I'm
not
ahead of
say
myself.
football.
Yeah, I'm ahead of myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm ahead of myself.
They just in spring camp.
Yeah, they're in spring training. And oh, by the way, Deion Sanders and the Jackson State Tigers will have spring game broadcast on ESPN. They will be the first HBCU to do that. So shout out to Deion and Jackson State. Listen, keep the hype coming. And every other university, we need to get on that level. Mr. Shaw is like nodding, y'all. I don't know
No, my
what's
knee
going
was
on.
hurt. No,
You
I'm
having knee
here. I'm
issues?
here. That's powerful for J State to, what I'm saying, to be on ESPN and show their spring game. You know what I'm saying? And all it does is boost. We got the transfer portal. Every school in the SWAC should be looking like, hey, kids gonna want to come play against J State because they know they're gonna be on TV. They're gonna
They're
get
gonna
the
be on
look.
TV.
So
Yep.
if they weren't able to play at the big schools, hey, come holler at us. So it's a perfect opportunity. And all Deion is doing is putting on for the black schools. That's it. That's all he doing. So, and I'm glad there aren't coaches out there hating on Deion because, oh, well, he came. I'm glad there's not hating going on, but
There's
yeah.
no
And I
need.
don't know, you off topic, college football, girl.
It just came out. I knew college basketball is what it was. So I just sprinkled in that little gem for them about Jackson State. There's so much news that goes on. So we try to give it to you in increments. So with
No, I
the
agree.
NCAA tournament, we are down to the Sweet 16 from a round of 64 to the last 16. March Madness continues on the 24th through the 26th this week. The Elite Eight will start on the 25th and run through the 27th, and then April 2nd we'll have the Final Four, and then the national championship is on April the 4th. So Gonzaga and Arkansas are still holding on in the West. Duke and Texas Tech are holding on as well. So the winner of those two games will meet. You also have UCLA and North Carolina and Purdue and St. Peter's that will show up. I feel like I'm missing some of these games. What was that? 2-4, 6-8. UCLA, North Carolina is out of the East bracket. Purdue, St. Peter's is out of that bracket as well. I'm missing some other games.
I can't even think. I can't even think. I was talking about it earlier today. Um,
Let me pull these other because we're missing some people.
I can't
Because
even
Duke is
think
still
who else still
standing.
dancing.
You say what?
I can't even remember who else still dancing.
There's there's 8 teams still dancing that I missed. And oh, by the way, like
Arizona.
uh-huh.
Said Gonzaga already.
I
You
said Purdue
said
because Purdue
UNC.
beat Texas.
You said UNC. You said Purdue. Providence.
Michigan. Michigan is still
Nah,
dancing.
you sure?
Yeah, Michigan and Villanova play.
Okay.
Houston and Arizona play. St. Peter's
Mhm.
versus Purdue. Purdue beat
Mhm.
Texas the other night. St. Peter's is the Cinderella story of the tournament.
Mhm.
They're no one knew that was the Cinderella surprise. No, don't know them, don't know anything about them, but they do have an African American coach, head coach.
Mhm.
So of course, for me, enough said. Providence and Kansas. So we were talking about that today. Providence also has a black head coach. North Carolina has black head coach and Hubert Davis. Them versus UCLA. That is big, being the North Carolina and UCLA have been college basketball champions. And then Iowa State and Miami. That's
Mhm.
that's who's left um, in the tournament. So, Mr. Shaw, your your Wildcats went down last week.
Yeah, St. Mary. I mean St. Joe. St. Mary was that was just a better team. We missed 4 free throws in overtime. We lost the game right there. So you had 4 points to go up on them and you didn't. So right there. And Cal took the blame, but like I was telling our other sitting during the game, how are we blaming him for stuff that's going? You leaving people open for three. You getting drunk. You get they came out with they nuts hanging all game long. You not playing them tight. That's on Cal. Now I can't say late in the game he went to a slow it down and try to take the clock out and it worked against him. But you go into overtime and you miss 4 free throws. You ain't lose by 10 points. What you lost by 4, 3, right? Like so, it was it for me all season long. I watched it. It was the inefficiency to score. So you know, but hey, that's why St. Mary's still dancing because they came to play. They came to play.
St.
They weren't
Peter's,
scared. St. Peter's, my fault, St. Peter's. Let me stop being disrespectful because I was real. I said it during the game. I was like, man, they real. We lose. We supposed to lose. St. Peter's was real. Like they came to play. Nothing about them was scared. The only person on my team that showed up was Oscar Sheway. And I feel like, most of my team might have to be there again. But, we still in the one Wagner son, DJ Wagner. Come on, baby. Come on. Pardon you over Tata. To St. Peter's, bro, it's not even for me, they weren't even a Cinderella team. They're just a good team. They're just a real good team. Play good defense and they not scared. Like, that's the best thing about college basketball. The one and done has made the other players who have to stay, they're not scared of you. You come to the tournament, this show one that you don't really care. They care. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how they
well,
playing. And
well, here's the thing:
go
we
ahead.
don't have to be scared anymore, right? We don't have to be
Mm-hmm.
scared because when we talk about these brackets and we talk about how these athletes are staying, and they're no longer the teams that don't have the one and dones, where they have the ability to have the upper hand, is that you have 23, 24 year olds versus having a 18-year-old.
19-year-old. and they
Yeah.
just used to playing. They've been playing together 2 3 years, so they know they've been in the trenches in the game. That's what I tell people. Like everybody would say Cal's job is easy. Okay. If y'all think it's easy to coach a kid fresh out of high school who's been pampered his whole life and has been able to shoot as many shots as he wants to, if you think that's easy to coach, it's not. Right? And it's just showing, like, you need seasoned veterans. And that's the other thing. We had seasoned veterans. Kellen Grady came from Davis, and he wasn't popping. Like he was not popping. He was like 1 for 7. He had one jump at the end of the game. All right. Like Savay Wheeler was a transfer from Georgia. You feel like those are the people that makes the game easier, and they just want the right pieces. It's okay though. Like Oscar Sheway was, but it was. You can see, for me, you see it throughout the season. There were points where certain players weren't getting other players the ball. You're like, that eat us up later on in the season, because y'all not gonna have that camaraderie, that understanding of each other. Right. So again, it's just
Right.
about growth.
Right. It's definitely about growth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead looking at the bracket now. I did do a show last Wednesday and I did pick Miami to come out of the Midwest region. So that is still doable. That Midwest region features Iowa State, Miami, Kansas, and Providence. So I would like to see Kansas and Miami head up,
Mm-hmm.
with Miami winning the bracket because I just refuse to say Kansas.
I
Um,
respect that.
in the Midwest. And I'm writing them down so I won't forget because I didn't actually do a bracket this year in
Mm-hmm.
full. And then out of the East, um, I saw Purdue has a lot of heart. Purdue has a lot of heart. Um, so I don't know. I'm gonna go with Purdue because I don't know if St. Peter's got it when it gets that far. Because the big dog's gonna be the big dogs. The hype with the players, they want to win. And then I have North Carolina over UCLA.
Like that coach said, he said, I got players from Jersey. What we scared of?
As I say, he said we ain't scared of
We do the
nobody.
robbing.
Yeah, Jersey
We
and New York.
He said we do the robbing.
Yeah,
Like, what are we scared of?
and you have, and right, being St. Peter's, they have nothing to fear. That's
And they play
that's what
great
makes
defense.
right, and that's what wins championships.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
And they
having
hitting
absolutely
shots.
nothing to fear.
And they hitting shots. There's
Yeah,
people coming off the bench hitting step backs. Like, what? Nah,
but
yeah.
they
So,
perfected it. Nobody knew who. That's the great part about nobody knowing you. Well, nobody knows you when it's your turn. What Daddy say when they call your number, it's time to dance.
mm-hmm. They did
Um,
that.
so in the West, I'm gonna go Gonzaga over Arkansas with a matchup against Duke for that bracket.
Mm-hmm.
And in the South, there's no way I don't take U of H
Mm-hmm.
um, over Arizona. So I got Houston. And then, of course, I want to see Michigan. And what would make me so happy is to see a Michigan Duke match
It would be good to see.
in the national championship. It would be a rematch. It would be highly anticipated and highly viewed. So that's my
Mm-hmm.
hope, to see Michigan and Duke. Yeah, because they're on the opposite sides of the bracket. So Michigan and Duke in the Final Four. You know,
I could care less at this point, but I'm gonna watch just because I'm a fan of the. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of
listen,
sports. So.
there's no other way. There's no other way to tell Coach K's story except for sitting him in the championship. That's what
Yeah,
all
they
of
probably gonna
America's
win
looking
it.
for.
Yeah, they probably gonna win it. They got a good team now, so I can't knock that aspect neither.
So that's where I'm taking it. That's what I got. Listen, guys, this has been another episode of Pull Up the Podcast. Although it started slow and I didn't think I was gonna make it. Mr. Shaw still didn't look like he was gonna make it. We a little tired, but we here. And we
You heard?
appreciate you who follow us, support us, and love us, who check out our episodes even after they post. We we sincerely thank you and appreciate you for being a part of the Pull Up family for so long. That's all I got for you guys. Stay tuned for the second half of the show. We got some culture roundup. This is your girl, Candy K. Lynn.
And your boy Shoutown Shy K, the Fat Mama.
And you're listening to Pull Up the Podcast. Until next week.
We out. Pull up, pull up.